Divine Intimacy number 96. The Proof of Love. Presence of God. O Jesus crucified, make me understand that the cross is the greatest proof of love. Meditation 1. After the Incarnation, the cross of Jesus is the greatest proof of his love for man. Similarly, mortification, which is suffering eagerly accepted for the love of God, is one of the greatest proofs of love that we can give him. It means freely giving up a satisfaction or a pleasure in order to impose on ourselves, for love of God, something which is contrary to our own natural inclinations. We thus prove that we prefer to satisfy God rather than ourselves. Every act of voluntary mortification, whether physical or moral, says to God, Lord, I love you more than myself. And since a soul in love has an ardent desire to give proof of its love, it is very vigilant not to miss a single opportunity for renunciation. It was in this sense that St. Teresa, Margaret of the Heart of Jesus, resolved not to let a single occasion for suffering escape, as far as she was able, and always in silence between God and herself. In fact, she made every effort to find at each moment some occasion for suffering or bodily pain, so as never to satisfy the slightest appetite or desire, and she sought ways to make even what was necessary painful and wearying to her body. SP. Her ardent love for God found an outlet in this generous, untiring exercise of mortification. Using a different expression, St. Teresa of the Child Jesus called this practice scattering flowers, that is, profiting by every least opportunity to suffer in order to give God a proof of her love. Knowing that the value of mortification depends upon the generosity of the dispositions with which it is done, the saint said, I shall always sing, even should my flowers be gathered from the midst of thorns. Story, 13. Meditation number 2. The value of voluntary mortification consists much more in the goodwill with which it is practiced than in the intensity of the suffering which is imposed, although the latter may contribute to it in the sense that a more painful mortification requires more goodwill. The amount of suffering must be wisely proportioned and limited to the physical strength of each one. But what must never be limited is the love, the spirit of generosity with which we perform each act of sacrifice. From this point of view, a slight mortification done with all the love of which a soul is capable has greater value than a painful penance performed in a material way, with no interior spirit. Hence, before performing an act of mortification, especially when it concerns certain customary practice, such as those which are used in religious institutes, it is necessary to arouse our goodwill and our sincere desire to suffer willingly for the love of God. This will prevent a more mechanical performance of the act that has little or no value. Loving contemplation of the crucified was the soul of all the austerities of St. Teresa, Margaret. This humiliated, suffering God, of whom she was constantly thinking, was the one who gave her the interior strength to overcome every difficulty, however arduous, and to take on spontaneously so many labors and works of charity and mortification. It was he who gave her an insatiable desire for suffering. TMSP. Contemplating Jesus crucified, the soul feels that even if it is mortifying itself much for love of him, its sacrifices and renunciations amount to very little. And instead of conceiving sentiments of vain complacency for the mortification already practiced, it feels the need of humbling itself and of always doing more. Have great love for suffering, says St. John of the Cross, and consider it very little to attain the favor of the spouse, who hesitated not to die for thee. SM 2:15. Colloquy. O my beloved, how shall I show my love, since love proves itself by deeds? I have no other means of proving my love than to strew flowers, and these flowers will be each word and look, each little daily sacrifice. I wish to make profit out of the smallest actions, and to do them for love. For love's sake, I wish to suffer and to rejoice. So shall I strew my flowers, not one that I see, but singing All the while I will scatter its petals before you. Should my roses be gathered from amid thorns, I will sing notwithstanding, and the longer and sharper the thorns, the sweeter will grow my song. TCJ ST, 13. O Lord, dispose of me according to your will, for I am content with everything if only I am following you on the road to Calvary. The more thorns there are on this road, and the heavier the cross is, the more consoled shall I be. For I desire to love you with an effective love, with a patient love, with a love which is dead to self, and entirely surrendered to you. O Lord, you on the cross for me, and I on the cross for you. Oh, if I could but once understand how sweet and precious it is to suffer in silence for you, O Jesus, O dear suffering, O good Jesus. T.M. S.P. Yes, suffering is dear to me because it permits me to give God proofs of my love. Because in the darkness of faith in which I must live here below, it gives me the assurance of loving not only in words, but with a strong, effective love. Oh, Jesus, now I understand why St. Teresa of Avila asked for only one thing, to die or to suffer, professing to have no other reason for living except to suffer for love of you. Life, 40. O Lord, may I too have such strong, true, and ardent love. Grant it to me, you who can give me all things, and who can in one instant transform this dry, cold heart into a furnace of charity. End of number 96, The Proof of Love.